Tonight we're going to be tying a Sowbug. Sowbug is a great pattern found in most of the streams that you're going to find in Kentucky, Tennessee, and some of the southern states. A lot of times if you pick up some vegetation in the water and kind of shake it, you'll actually see that the Sowbugs, or the scuds as they're also known, will come floating out of it. We're going to start with a curved shank number 16 hook, and we'll start by wrapping our 8/0 uni thread, or a 6/0. It would be fine in this situation. We're going to wrap that all the way back to the end of the hook, and maybe even come down just a little bit. Trim our thread. Even, like say, start down that bend just a tad. The next thing I'm going to do is tie in a piece of silver wire. This is ultra wire. This is a small size, not a brassy size or an extra small. This is actual small. I come back there to the back of the hook. Get that out of the way. The next thing I'm going to tie on is going to be a little piece of Flashaboo. You can use all sorts of different things. This is actually going to go on the it's going to run up the rib, if you will, over top of the scud back we'll put on. Just grab a hold of that, and I'm tying that right on the top of the hook. I'm going to float that out of the way. The next thing I'm going to tie on is a piece of scud back. The scud back almost looks a little bit like a plastic bag, and you can use a plastic bag, but this is kind of stretchy, a little opaque. I think it works a little bit better than a Ziploc or other things that maybe you've seen people use. I'm going to kind of just hold that up there in place. Bring my thread up so I get a little more control. Sort of wrap that around with one wrap. And I'll work my way back here to the back. Now I've got all that secured and in place. I'm going to wrap that there to kind of secure that scud back down. Alright. And now we're going to do our dubbing. Now, some people do a dubbing loop, which a dubbing loop you can simply pull out and take your fingers and you've created this loop. Tie the loop off here, and then you can dub it that way. I find it's just as easy to just do a simple rope style dubbing where you twist the dubbing on and then pick it out with a bodkin later. So what I do is I'm going to wax up that thread just a little bit by simply rubbing my nose. A little bit of the oil off your skin will do, and I'm going to use kind of a natural dubbing out of one of these boxes. You can also use a hair's mask if you like to get the same effect. I'm going to dub that up on there. I'm just putting my fingers on there and twisting that dubbing on there like a rope. We're going to make quite a few wraps, so put quite a bit of dubbing down through there. More. Alright, I'm going to start with that. I'm going to make some wide wraps here. Start in the back. Start wrapping that dubbing forward. Watch the eye of that hook. That if you're using an 8/0 thread, that the hook point can really mess you up if you break the thread off at this point. And I'm just going to look and make sure that it stays pretty even going down through there. We want the body of this to be even, so kind of wrap it until you get an even coat. Again, this is looking really tight, but what we're going to do is actually pick that out with a bodkin later. So as I kind of get up to the front, I'm going to leave myself enough room for a head. You can grab a hold of that extra dubbing and just pull it right off of there. Bring up my bod just a little bit. Alright, now I'm going to put a few wraps. I'm just going to put a quick half hitch on there, just in case we break. Alright, so now the next step is to bring our scud back forward just a little bit. And we're going to bring that right over the top. Going to kind of pinch it around, trying to make sure that it's even. Pinch wrap. 2. I'm going to look over top. I'm going to make sure that we're symmetrical in the scud wrap. And I am. Pull it a little tighter. A couple more wraps. I'm going to take that scud back and pull it straight up. Cut it with a pair of scissors. Alright. The next thing I'm going to do is take that piece of Flashabou. I'm going to pull it forward. I'll kind of just hold it there with my finger. Take 1, 2 wraps, just they're kind of loose. Kind of make sure it's even over the top. 3, 4. Give a little tug. And I'll pull that, cut that there. Alright. Now some people counter wrap their silver, but I'll just go ahead and wrap it in the same direction. And you got to be careful as you're wrapping. What we're doing is we're binding all this down. Get a good wrap started. And you kind of pinch that scud back and make sure it doesn't roll on you as you're making your wraps. Your Flashabou is going to want to turn, so you just kind of pull it back up there at the top. Make it pretty snug. What we're trying to do is really make some good segments on the body. I kind of pinch it, pull it tight, wrap on top, make sure it stays on the top, hold it with my finger, grab a hold of it, pull it again, put one more here on the top. Wrap it, pull it again, tight. Now this is going to be the last one. I'm just going to hold it straight up. Take and go behind that. 2, 3. Give it a little snug pull. Take that wire, cut it close. Tighten that up. I'm going to give maybe a couple wraps with my thread, and then I'm just going to whip finish. Cut that extra thread. Alright, so now what you do is take your bodkin. You can see that we don't have any legs up underneath here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick this guy out. Go all the way back into the bend of the hook, even where I've got the. I'm going to turn this up towards me for a second. You're going to grab, it looks like my scud back turned. I think I can grab a hold of it. You can pick up underneath there and you can get it out. Like I say, sometimes you can save maybe a little bit of time with a dubbing loop. Sometimes they're just more difficult to fight with. Alright. And then you got plenty hanging down up underneath there. This is going to get your legs, and when that gets wet, it's going to give you a lot of action. And you can see a little bit how that Flashabou on the back gives it just a little bit of flash, just enough to where it's going to be picked up in the water. Pull some of that off. And that's how you tie a scud.